Picking up where I left off, elements of the 118th Motorized Infantry Brigade of the Chicom 40th Group Army Trojan Horse elements were pursuing American civilian militia forces from the local area, roughly a regiment of them, about 1,000, up hilly terrain and into the wooded areas where the Missouri National Guard were training at prior to the events of the battle unfolding. As the elevation got higher and steeper, it was more and more difficult for the vehicles, the armored personnel carriers and infantry fighting vehicles of the 118th to follow the civilians up these hills. And the civilians fought valiantly and bravely, but eventually were forced to retreat, as they really only had weapons capable of taking care of infantry on foot and not in their armored vehicles. However, by later in the day, in the afternoon, elements of the Missouri National Guard 35 Engineering Brigade come to the aid of the civilians and start distributing some of their spare AT-4 shoulder-fired anti-tank weapons and teach them how to use them. And they begin to beat back the Chicoms, actually inflicting heavy losses on the 118th, and the 118th is forced to retreat back around where they had came from. They couldn't go across the river and into the city other than across the I-44 bridge, due to there still being plenty of landmines and traps in the area that the Snow Leopards commando unit had left. However, the 118th tank detachment, their tank company, ends up coming down through the city to link up with them on the I-44, while the Snow Leopard goes and takes over the Joplin regional airport. By the end of the day, at night, it's beginning to be clear, as refugees come in from other areas, that this is going on nationwide, and the Missouri National Guard hold out for another day, while the Chicoms switch strategies and begin to call in airstrikes on the hills. One such devastating airstrike is one that's called in by a pair of Nanchang Q-5s, which fly over the area, each one carrying a 2,000-pound napalm tank, which does devastating damage onto the forces in the hills. As the forces decide on where they're going to head, they think about going to the northeast, only for their advanced scouts to find miles and miles of foot trains of civilians. So eventually, they disband and become mutual defense nomadic tribals.